Okay guys, hey, how are you doing? This is a reading for the new moon in Gemini that's on the 10th, which you're either watching on the 10th or you're watching the day before. It is also a solar eclipse and is in the middle of Saturn retrograde and Mercury retrograde. So the retrogrades are really it's a lot like cleaning out your closet. Things are going to be brought back up to be refined, consolidated, and then you can move forward on them again. So it's not exactly the best time to sign contracts or start any new endeavors unless you've had them on your list for a really long time and now they're coming to the surface to be completed and moved forward in. Because of that solar eclipse, you might feel exhaustion, overwhelm, anxiety. It's all a part of the process, This new moon in Gemini is about objective perspective. Gemini is all about communication, which Mercury retrograde means that communication is up for grabs. So in this process, if you are, having a hard time in your relationships or communicating with people around you, with business partners, with bosses, with children, and with yourself, just breathe. I'm sure the cards will have more answers than that, but remember that air is for objectivity. And Gemini, although they can be frenetic and restless, they also have the ability to see things from a very clear perspective and organize things in a very innovative way. Using your language and your writing skills and all of that to heal and gain that higher perspective could be really helpful right now. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards and we can see what's going on. We want to see, new moon is all about intention. So what can we set for this cycle? What can we start anew on? What can we really move forward in a different way if you need to, or just solidify all the goals that you've already had? So let's see what happens. Okay, so it does look like maybe we're feeling a little bit of discouraged in our passions and in our ability to tackle some of our temptations, unhealthy, toxic relationships, or just chains to outdated perspectives. So this is also the Princess Tarot, by the way. It just was speaking to me today. I love this deck. I learned a lot of tarot from this deck because the images are just really relative to my life. So I'll explain them as we go on. So here we have the reversed Strength card. So this is what the Strength card looks like in this deck. But in reverse, we know that there is a lack of communication going on, right? Mercury retrograde, new moon in Gemini. Communication and language is a big part of your ability to feel confident, empowered, honest, and also compassionate. The Strength card really does represent companionship and being able to nurture your partner or the duality within yourself or the people around you, or nurture yourself, right? So that, because we are not full on nurturing ourselves, the confidence and the courage and the endurance is kind of taking a hit. And it might be turning you, making you look at your addictions a little bit more clearly. It might be tempting you to dive deeper into your addictions too. So remember the breath work, remember just trying to find that objective perspective. Don't judge yourself. The more you judge yourself, the more you hurt yourself, the more you're going to dive into these addictions and these unhealthy ways of communicating. So the truth is we are just burnt out. I know it's a weird picture, but really it's just like her, I always think of don't be an ass in this picture. So we're looking at communication issues and not feeling empowered, not feeling confident. Don't take that out on everybody else. You are feeling exhausted. There is a reason for it. There is a lot going on cosmically and astrologically, and there's a lot going on in the world right now, and a lot going on for you most likely. So try not to take it out on the people around you. Remember that you are dealing with wounds, dealing with refining those wounds and refining your perspective on them and how that affects you and your reality. And it's totally natural to get upset and to fall into those addictions, but it's still gonna hurt you if you hurt the people you love. So let's keep going and see what happens here. It seems like all of this experience is really bringing you to your truth, to your ability to, there's been some immaturity and some pain going on. So this might be what the refinement is all about. Perhaps you are reorganizing your emotions and your ability to cope and your desire to cope with unhealthy things by maturing your overall emotional level. The Ace of Cups in reverse really does mean like maybe you've missed some opportunities, or maybe you've missed out on love, or you've lost love. And this is what is really, you're trying to find your truth on what was so exhausting about that love, what was so exhausting about that communication process you went through. King of Cups in reverse, I just feel like once again, we've got sharp words, we've got aggression, and really what it stems from is this immaturity in our emotional levels, because we can't gain that higher perspective. Maybe that's in challenge right now. We are taking it out on the others around us and having a hard time really cultivating and seeing that higher perspective so that we don't hurt people or do things that we regret. Mercury retrograde is a time for mistakes and regret, so don't be harsh on yourself. I know it's hard, but it really is a great time to learn. And in conjunction with this new moon, you can use that new moon energy to make the most of it. If you feel lack of confidence, lack of endurance, lack of strength, if you feel tied down by your addictions and your toxic relationships, and you don't know how to get out of that burnout mentality, take the time for this new moon to set some intentions of truth that you are experiencing this hardships and these challenges in order to find that truth, to be surrounded by the passion that truth brings you, and to ultimately mature you in emotional endeavors that have left you feeling immature, or maybe you have left them with an immature attitude. The Seven of Pentacles has come up. So Seven of Pentacles really reminds me of like living in shadow. We've got Pentacles. So money is really coming in. 7 is a great number. It can represent perfection, but it's also an odd number. So there's still the idea that there's instability. So let's apply this to the reading that we're seeing right now. 7 is a great number to say, wow, there's perfection in your challenges and your hardships, and maybe this more immaturity that you're trying to work through, but it is hard and it is imperfect, and it does need to move forward. And when you move forward, you are going to find the King of Pentacles and the 10 of Pentacles. And these are this is the completion of a cycle and abundance and money and income and earthly things that is only being magnified by the King of Pentacles. I mean, he is the authority and the dominant power in his reality. So, all in due time, everything happens for a reason. You are experiencing these challenges in communication, this burnout, this exhaustion, to get that deeper truth, to emote what you need to let it all go. I mean, that is a big part of this Mercury retrograde. Let it out. Saturn retrograde too. I mean, really, King of Pentacles, Saturn is all about authority, structure, leadership. So Saturn coming in, being in retrograde, I mean, we are redefining our ability to be the authority and leader of our own life. And it definitely is affecting our money, and it definitely is affecting our relationships. So, don't get wrapped up in that lack of success. This is a 6 of Wands in reverse. So it may look unsuccessful, but once again, we are finding perfection in the world around us through our hardships and our challenges. That's what retrogrades are all about. Learning from your mistakes, learning from all of the freak of nature mistakes that are happening out there. I mean, computers shutting down, internet's shutting down, cars having problems, communication issues, just timing being off. Mercury can be really Mercury retrograde can be really, really random. And now you've got the sun, the solar eclipse coming in to intensify everything and make it real. And that's all amongst the time that Saturn, so your inner authority, is also refining his opinions and his beliefs and his structure. So mistakes, communication issues, burnout, lack of confidence, lack of strength, those are going to be a big part of this, because we have to clean it out to find our greatest power, to complete cycles, so that we're not stuck in immaturity anymore and miss out on other emotional opportunities of love and companionship, and also emotional satisfaction from the money that you're making, from the way that you make that money. So in this process right now, I guess what I'm really being called to notice is exhaustion and addiction. They're going to go hand in hand. It's definitely, your exhaustion is at the bottom of your addiction patterns. And really the hardest thing with addiction is that it normally isn't, addiction isn't about the substance that you're having. It's not about the coffee. It's not about the drugs. It's not about the weed or the cigarettes or whatever, alcohol. It's about the way it makes you feel. And it's about the emotions that you, or the wounding and the reasons why. So why, say you were traumatized as a child, bullied a lot, so you drink alcohol. Okay, so alcohol gives you a sense of freedom, gives you a sense of maybe power, honesty, the ability to show up and be yourself without being criticized, right? So it's not really alcohol that's the issue. The issue is I feel disempowered. When I find my power, I have experienced people criticizing me, judging me, hurting me physically, telling me that I'm no good. So in order to avoid that, I turn towards that alcohol to find that power that I otherwise don't feel comfortable expressing. So I find that in addiction, it is so easy to blame the drug and blame the substance and just like, grr, I hate you, or I hate me, but the truth is, I'm glad I brought this up. A wonderful channeler that I listened to, she brought it up this week, addiction. And she was like, the truth about addiction is we need to find appreciation for these substances that allow us to heal first. That neutralizes the charge of the substance that you're addicted to. It allows you to view it from a less judgmental, low frequency. If you go through a cycle of, I need the drug, I hate myself for needing the drug, I hate myself some more because it's so hard to not have the drug, I'm doing the drug because I hate myself and now I hate myself again, that's like an endless cycle. So instead, let's say, man, I have some deep wounds and this particular substance has really helped me live my life, find relief, and hopefully help me grasp a higher perspective. And as soon as you appreciate it, it might shift the energy. So appreciating the substance that you are addicted to, and that is, in some ways trying to help you, and then moving it aside and saying like, what do I get from it? What do I get from it? Why do I feel good when I have it? And why is it that I feel so bad that I need to feel good? Right? So diving into what the true issue is, if it's a power thing or if it's a sadness thing or if it's a trigger of some sort, try and remember when the first time you had that trigger, because that will definitely help shed some light on what's going on. And that's not going to cure you. It's not going to just take the addiction away or the toxic patterns, because this can happen in relationships too. It's not going to cure it, but you're a powerful human and you have the ability to integrate and gain consciousness and awareness. So as you dive into the truth behind your pain and your addiction patterns, you naturally will begin to move forward in them. And that's all we can ask for. And that's what the retrogrades are all about. It's refining your authority and structure and refining your ability to communicate, and also technological endeavors, anything with electricity. But our whole bodies are filled with electricity, right? Maybe a different kind, but those things are all coming up to be refined. So don't get hard on yourself for the exhaustion that you're in. You may be doing the drugs because you're exhausted. You may have these unhealthy relationships because you're exhausted and you're burnt out and you don't have any confidence. Whatever tools help empower you, if it's consciousness, if it's awareness, if it's integration, if it's a bath, if it's good food, if it's good friends, if it's whatever, reach for it, try and chill, try and find that objective perspective. It's what we're trying to figure out. Since it's the name of the game right now, it's going to be really hard, and I encourage you to try anyways. We have an amazing completion of cycle coming up soon, and we are stepping into some serious power. So believe it, hold on to it, even if it looks really dark out there. And otherwise, you guys, if you're interested in a reading, I would love to do some personal stuff for you. So DM me, and good luck. This is going to be an interesting night.